Hey there, Russ here. Welcome back to the shop. Okay, I thought I would introduce you to my little mini OTB scratch awl. Um, but there's a big story behind this. I'll also show you how I make it. I'm going to show you how I use it, and why this is by far the best little scratch awl that I've ever had. And I'll go through all of this for you a little at a time. First, I got to give you the background on how I arrived at doing this. A couple of days ago, I was watching one of the YouTubers out there that I watch on a regular basis make things. And he did a video on making a mini awl. And he made two different ones that were similar to each other. And they're just little short, knobby handles like that that fit in the palm of your hand. And then the chisel of the pick part just sticks out. And he was using a sixpenny nail was the theme of what he was doing. So he said make an inexpensive little mini awl with just a sixpenny nail. And I thought, and he challenged everybody else to make their own version of it. And I thought, that sounds kind of cool. So I was thinking about it, and a smile came to my face because what I thought about is being very funny. As I was going to take, and the first thing came to mind was this. If you remember this. This is my little flashlight that I keep in my apron. I did a video about what's in my apron, and this was part of that. And so I've never seen anybody make one like it since, but I do have this one. Anyway, I thought, well, what if I took this and just put the nail right in here and then call that my little scratch awl and just kind of grin about it and send it to him, a picture of it. Then I thought, okay, I think I might do that. So I set about to make one. Basically, I was just taking and making the template, making my own set of knuckles, and then just drill a hole and put the screw in there, and that would be it. But the more I got to thinking about it, I thought, that might actually be a fairly good idea for a scratch awl. Or you really use it for a center punch more than I call a scratch awl, but that's neither here or there. So then I decided to cut it down to just the two center holes. And this part here is designed to fit in your palm so that you can get some pressure pushing on it while you're trying to push down and make a hole. So, and by having the finger holes, it gives you a little better control over this. And the more I used it playing with it, the more I began to realize that I actually like this thing. This isn't bad at all. And as you get older, you're going to find that your finger dexterity is not going to be as good as it was when you were 20 years old. And in fact, some days are going to be worse than other days. You know, what I call Monday fingers versus Wednesday fingers or Friday fingers. It just seems like at the first of the week, they don't work near as well as they do by the end of the week. Anyway, and I thought by using your fingers, instead of just having to always grip that very small handle, where's that other one? Here. Even this one. It's very uncomfortable. It really takes a lot of effort, especially if your fingers aren't working the greatest. This is actually very difficult to really hold and try to use. And I found that using this really keeps that from being so clumsy. I noticed it when I had my flashlight, that I never dropped it anymore when I have it like this. And this actually is a pretty good way to have something like that on your flashlight to help you keep from dropping it. So that made me realize that this isn't really a bad design. So make things, that one particular video, when he said he challenged us to make our own design, that's when I just saw a couple of kids out there. Sorry, by the mailbox. I didn't know why they had stopped there. They were on their bikes. I think they were having bike trouble. Anyway, I decided to just make this and now send him some pictures of it and let him know that this was mine. And then I got to thinking about it that maybe I should share this because this actually is not a bad design. And as you get older, this might not be a bad choice for making a little center punch so you can punch out these holes. So let me show you how it works, is what I'll do. And then I'm going to show you how I made this, because it is pretty easy to make. And then also I'll show you some improvement ideas I have on it, because this is my first working prototype. So, and of course I'm going to make it better. And also at the end, after I show you how to make it, and it'll be easy to make if you make one little simple jig, and I'll show that to you to be able to make this. It's basically 2 parts plus the nail. But then I'll show you about how I've been thinking about it, and I've actually think about some other things that you can do with this same design. So first let's talk about how it really works. So you have your bunch of little marks, and you want to put a little center punch in all those locations. And so with this, it's real easy, especially with the rounded ends here, because you can actually set that down on that and pivot this down onto your point and really be able to finally adjust to get that to point to exactly where it needs to be. You lift it up, and now you're ready to just make your hole. And that would be real easy to use. It fit in your palm. And the nice thing about this is that it doesn't matter what day of the week it is, because you can do it with these 2 fingers on a Monday, do it with these 2 fingers on a Tuesday, and by Friday you can use these 2 fingers. You get the idea. Anyway, you can use any 2 fingers you want for your holding this, and it's no big deal. But also I discovered that I can actually take and turn it this way and put my 2 fingers in there. This is now real easy to set very easily on any point in just a very matter of a couple of seconds. Real easy. So if you've ever have a project where you're trying to center punch a lot of places, this has really come in to be very nice to use and a lot easier. Because now with it this way, I target my place of where I want to put it. Like I say, on the center of that X, I can set this down, roll that down on that till that point is just touching where I want it to be. I stand it up, and I'm actually holding that with 2 fingers, and it's not going to slide out of there, and it's ready for me to hit it or get a hold of it and push it down, or whatever way I want to do it. But I can do it this way without a lot of strain on my fingers trying to hold this thing and line it up at the other end all at the same time. This is very, very comfortable. And like I said, you can do this with any 2 fingers you want. So you can do this with 2 fingers. You can do this with only your fingers and no thumb if you're having a Saturday and your thumb is the one that's not working. You can still get in here with just your fingers and make it work. So no matter how your hands are working, this is a pretty easy way to be able to hold this, to be able to center punch things a lot easier. I really like this design of the 2 fingers. And I don't know why I never thought about this before after all these years of using a standard handle on these. So anyway, that's how it works. If you make one and give this a try, I guarantee you, you're going to be as impressed with it as I was when I started using this over the last couple of days, playing with it more than anything. So how do I make it? So that's the next question is in order to make this thing, I did it by making 2 parts. I made this triangular piece here and drilled 2 holes in it, and the size of that hole is determined by where my biggest finger fits into the hole completely. So, and I think I went with 7/8 inch holes because I don't have really big hands. You might need to make it slightly bigger and go to a full 1 inch hole. That's up to you. The size of the hole isn't critical. Excuse me. Then you make sure you're flat across the bottom. Make sure you mark your center point here so you know where to put your pin when you're done. And the other part you need is I just used a 1 inch dowel right here. And it's about 2 inches long. And I cut a dado in it so that this piece then is just slotted and it just fits right into that slot. And I just glued it in place and I'm done. There isn't any pressure on this joint, so that glue would be more than enough. But if I was going to do other things with this, then I could just easily pin this with a couple of bamboo skewers, and I end up with a pretty strong joint there without any problem. So, in order to make the dado here, all you have to do is get yourself a little block and make sure it's nice and square. All 4 corners have to be at 90 degrees, and find the very center of your little block and drill out the center to the diameter of your dowel. This is a 1-inch dowel, so that's a 1-inch hole. Then I took, without this piece, obviously it's not going to be attached because you don't have the slot. You drop your piece down in there, like so, and then I took a set screw and locked it down so that it wouldn't turn on me. I take it over to my table saw. My fence is right here. I take this, set it up against the fence, and I run it through right along the center. Turn it 180 degrees and run it back through. And that'll give me a groove right down the center that's exactly centered. Then all I have to do is adjust my fence a little at a time, widen this groove until this groove is the right size for this to just fit down in there. And then stop, pull your pin out, put a little glue in there and slap it together and let it dry. And you're done. So it's really easy to make this thing. And with this block, it makes it easier. Plus, when I went ready to put this in there, I actually put that in there to hold this thing perfectly straight. And then I used it on the drill press to drill this to make sure I got this nice and straight too. I could have drilled it with my drill bit with the bubble, because again, it's nice and straight. So you can do it any way you want and get a nice straight hole by using this to hold this thing exactly vertical. So, and that's how you make it. It is easy to make. Now, I was thinking about improvements. Like I said, I like to make things. In fact, you should look at some of his other videos if you're not familiar with him. He has some awesome ideas and beautiful projects that he's made over the years. But instead of using this 6-penny nail, I think I'm going to take, and like I did with this one, this is a scratch awl that I made a while back, quite a while ago. And I used 3/16 square rod. Nice and square on all 4 sides. And then I bevel flattened it on the tip, bring it together to make a tip on all 4 sides evenly. So now I have a 4-sided point. And that is where you have an improvement, because now when you put this into a piece of wood like this, and as you're pushing down and you're twisting, guess what? Those 4 sides of each flat surface, those corners, will dig in, and it'll actually act like a scraper, and it'll scrape that hole, make it bigger and bigger, and let you make that hole bigger as you push down on it. It'll actually drill in pretty nicely. When you do that with a round point, you don't get that scraping around the hole. It's just purely pushing that thing in there. And that makes it a lot harder to push it down and make a deeper hole. So I prefer a square on my extension here where the point is. I prefer this to be square rather than round myself. Anyway, so I'm thinking I'm going to take a small piece of that and use that here instead with a point so that I have the same thing. Then when I push down and I'm twisting, I can really get it to dig in and actually dig down in there rather than with the nail. The nail doesn't do that quite as well. So, the other thing is, I don't know about the length of this piece. Like I said, this one right now, because of the size of my hand, is right at 2 inches. And you just have to proportion this yourself. It fits comfortably in my palm. As you can see, when I try to make a fist, the 2 fingers that are in the holes will be higher up than the other fingers. So this is probably a good size for me and feels pretty comfortable in my hand for doing what I need to do. But you'll have to judge how long this piece will be. Make it long, and just cut it off a little at a time until you get to a happy point. So anyway, that's how you make it. It is real easy. It didn't take me less than a half hour to make this darn thing, and I didn't know what it was going to look like when I started. So you can make this thing pretty quick. As far as the improvements of it, I also was thinking, okay, as an OTB thinker, which is what this project is about, I thought, okay, you're done. But I wasn't. I didn't turn that OTB switch off quite quick enough, and I got to thinking about it, and I thought, what else can I do with that design? And it dawned on me, why not to go from this with just a pin in here, and instead of the pin, what if I put something like this, a bit holder in there? And now we have the bit holder that we can put any bit we want in there and use it as a screwdriver or some kind, or anything that we can put in here. and even a drill bit, and then sit there with a drill bit and drill a hole if you wanted to, I think. So I think making this a little bit driver with the double finger would still give you a lot of extra power to be able to really go. And I think this would be easier to use with a drill bit, with any kind of bit, as opposed to this type of handle here or here. I think that this will actually make a better handle for that. Plus, I can take and put one bit here, bit holder here, bring another bit holder out here so that I can use it either this way with my bit here, or I can use it this way with my bit here and really get close to what I'm doing. So I think this is a really great design for a screwdriver handle, I guess you'd say. And it could be ambidextrous to be able to use it from either direction if you have a removable bit capability on either end. So that's what I'm planning on. That's what I've done with it. This is where OTB thinking takes you sometimes. You never know when you start. It started off as just being a funny, humorous thing. And next thing you know, I have something that actually works, and I can make something more out of this than just this too. So you never know where it goes. I wanted to share this with you. If you have any questions about this, how to make it, the template, I got this off of the internet. I just did knuckle templates, and I came up with more choices than I could count. And then I just put it through the copier, through the printer from the computer. I resized it smaller and smaller until I got it to a comfortable size to fit my hand. And that's how, and then I made my template. So that's where I got this, and I keep it around. Like I said, I used it here, and now, as it turns out, I used it for this. The other thing I think about doing with this is maybe, what if I take my hand chisels, and instead of having that type of end on it, I go with something like that on there. It would be this way. That might make an interesting chisel then too. So something for me to think about is maybe I can do some chisels, a chisel set using this style handle also. So it's much better. As you get older, you'll learn to appreciate having those little finger reliefs too. That makes that a lot easier to hold on to. So give it some thought. Maybe make your own OTB. And if you're going to make one of these, doing it with the bit driver, I just dare you to get yours done before I get mine done, because I'm going to make one, but as you know, I got a lot of things around that I'm also doing. So I'd love to see your ideas before I get mine made. Maybe I can steal some of your ideas to make mine before it's over, because I think there's still a lot of improvements that you can, subtle improvements you can make to this. But overall, it's really easy concept. It's easy to make, and it really does work quite well, especially with Monday fingers. So anyway, I hope you like this video. Leave your thoughts and your comments. Let me know what you think about the OTB Awl. If you like this video, you learned something here, hit that like button. Lets me know I did something right. Most importantly, though, please come back again, because I'm done when you're done. Right. Thanks. And we'll see you guys again all very soon. Bye.